Weird, the Al Yankovic story dropped on Roku, and I was very excited about this movie because I think. So let me explain my little experience with Weird Al. I was never a major fan. My dad was, and he used to be very obsessed with his albums. The one I remember very fondly the most being Mandatory Fun, because that was his newest album at the time when my dad was super into Weird Al. And I grew to really appreciate him over time, but it's never something that I really understood till I got older, because a lot of the songs he were parroting, not only were they before I was born, but there's a cleverness to it, like my Bologna, these kind of ideas and these songs, and the humor is a lot wordier sense of humor that's really funny the older you get. And so I kind of got into that, and then I watched UHF for the first time this week and made my review of that movie. So this is kind of an interesting movie because if you don't know where this is releasing, this is a free movie on Roku. That's the interesting part right there. You can watch it only if you have a Roku, and it's free with ads. So you have to watch this film with ads. This movie is also based on a sketch of a fake parody biopic movie about Weird Al's life that they actually adapted into a real movie. And it's really interesting because this is a good biopic movie that's not a biopic movie. This is a comedy parody of biopics movies. But I think that's what's great about it, is because I think this is something we should encourage more of biopics, which is that you want to capture the style of art that the artists themselves would want to make, basically. Like when you watch Bohemian Rhapsody, do you think Freddie Mercury, a person who hated things that were mediocre and generic and bland, would like a movie that's generic and bland? No. you know and so when I watch this movie, not only because Weird Al was involved with the movie itself, I watch it and I go, this is a film that Weird Al himself would be happy with. And I think that's something we need to try to capture more with biopics, capturing the style of art they want to make, not only by showing them create their songs or their music in the actual biopic, but also capturing it in the feel of the film. Like to me, Rocket Man felt was the closest we got to that besides this movie. I really appreciate that about this movie, and the humor here is really funny. A lot of it's very clever. A lot of the parodies are great. I particularly like the beach scene, or not beach scene, a pool party scene where you get tons of cameos. You get the one character from Pink Flamingos, Pee Wee Herman, makes a cameo. A bunch of other characters that are really funny, and that was great to see. And just Daniel Radcliffe is amazing as this part, because you get the feeling that if this movie had played it straight, he still would have been just as good, because he plays it just right. He sounds like the character. He didn't do all the singing, from what I understand, but he sounds just like him when he's talking and delivering lines. It's really funny, and there's just a level of fun to this movie. This vibe that's just great. It's a fun watch. The way they portray Madonna is really funny. The way that they adapt real life parts of his life and exaggerate it, it's just fantastic. This is just a fantastic movie. I think my only hang up with this movie, it's hard to recommend to people who don't understand or like Weird Al's sense of humor. But that's the thing. Weird Al has always been a niche. His style of humor and his kind of brand has always been a niche anyways. That's not even really a criticism. This is, he's a cult guy where he has a massive fan base, of course, but he's more of a cult thing. Only certain people understand and really get his sense of humor, and that's fine. This is just exactly what it needed to be. It did what it needed to do, and it was fantastic.